I didn't get involved in a campus Bible study or a campus ministry at all, and I just wasn't growing. I started dabbling in drugs, became sexually active. I was just a mess. I would date one sorority girl after another and use them for a couple weeks and then just dump them. And then Peggy walked into my life. There was something different about Peggy. She wasn't an abuser of substance, and she wasn't a drinker, and she wasn't sexually active, and there was just this purity about her. And she was so attractive to me, that purity. Well, we started dating, and it didn't take me long at all to corrupt her. The more we hung out, the more she became like me. And eventually we started fighting, and eventually we broke up, never to see each other again. I was looking for a rock to crawl under, but there aren't any here at the throne of Christ. I said, Jesus, what ended up happening with Peggy? I mean, what happened to her? He said, oh, she was married 3 times. Her first 2 husbands abused her. Her third one deserted her. I hung my head. And she said, Daniel, what are you thinking? It's my fault. I mean, it's all my fault. Her life turned out so miserable. He said, no, Daniel. It's not your fault. You see, each one is responsible for their own decisions. You were responsible to Peggy. You're not responsible for Peggy. There's a big difference. Yeah, you had a great opportunity to lead her towards me, and instead you led her in the exact opposite direction. But Peggy's responsible for her own choices. I said, well, Jesus, what ended up happening to Peggy? And he goes, well, after her 3rd marriage broke up, someone came into her life who told her all about me. And she became a believer, and she's here at the Bema, and she wants to talk to you. He goes, don't worry, Daniel. I promise it will go well. Grace abounds in the heavenlies. As I looked at the relationships with my life, I thought to myself, if I could go back, if I could go back and start over and do it again, one thing I'd do different, one huge change, I would stop neglecting my wife and my kids, and I would pour my life into them. I would look for other people that I could pour my life into. I would tell those who were lost all about Jesus. I would disciple those who accepted Jesus, because here at the Bema, people are everything. Because people matter to Jesus. The third lesson, the third observation I had was this. Everything looks different from the Bema. Everything looks different from the Bema. Have you ever heard the saying, you can't see the forest because of the trees? Well, when I was on earth, I was walking around with this massive oak tree right in front of my face. I thought I could see the big picture, but here from the Bema, where I could truly see the big picture, where I could see the whole forest all at once, I realized how blind I was and how ridiculous so many of my choices were. One example of this is just before Jesus came back. I had a job change. I got a call from Derek Hogan. And Derek Hogan was the #1 man in my industry in town. Just getting a call from Derek Hogan, your heart just beats faster. He said, hey, Daniel, I want to talk to you. Can you come over? And so I said, sure. And I I walked over into his big, beautiful, oh man, spacious office. And I said, "Oh, hello, sir. It's nice to meet you." He said, "Oh, Daniel, I've heard a lot about you." And he goes, "I'd like you to come work for me." I said, "Really? Oh, wow." He said, "Not only that, but I want to double your salary." And I thought, double my salary? Have I died and gone to heaven? Oh, well, I need to go talk to my old boss first. But and he said, "Well, don't waste your time. This offer's not on the table for long." I said, I won't. I'll be right back. I promise." I needed to go talk to John Michelle. John was a friend of my father's. They had been college roommates together. He gave me my first opportunity, my first shot out of college, and I made a few mistakes along the way, didn't I, John? Yeah, one or two. But John was a wonderful guy. I mean, a godly man. He took me under his wing, and he taught me, and he trained me, and he helped me learn the business and grow. And I became a pretty good salesperson. In fact, I brought a lot of good accounts to the business. Well, John, Derek Hogan has invited me to join his firm, and the salary is really not something you can compete with, and so I'm going to take the job. But I know you're probably concerned about the accounts I brought to you, and I promise I won't touch them for at least 3 years. 3 years. Can we shake on that? Good. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for all you've done for me, for how you've invested. I mean, it really means a lot. Hey! And I went over to Derek Hogan's deal, and as soon as I got there, his demeanor completely changed. He started telling me what all the requirements would be, and he set the bar way up here, and he said, "Go get it." And I did, because I was pretty good. He started having me work harder and harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. I started neglecting my family and stopped spending time with my wife and my kids. But, oh man, I mean, I was really making it now. We had gone up 2 whole house sizes in a year and a half. And you should have seen the car I was driving. Front row at all the sporting events. I mean, this was the life. One day I walked into Derek's office and he said, "Hey, I need you to go get that Metro Century account." I said, I can't. That one belongs to John Michelle. He said, "Well, you don't have a no-compete contract, do you?" I said, "Well, no, but I promised him. I mean, we shook on it. I gave him my word." He said, "Matthewson, your word doesn't mean anything in business. Go get it." I said, "No, I can't." He said, "Yes, you can. Go get it." I said, "No, I can't." And he said, "Go get it or pack your things." Okay. I'll get it. It wasn't really hard. I still had all the relationships. I couldn't even look him in the eye as I ripped that account from him, never looking back. But here from the Bema, I could see that it destroyed him as a person and that his business was ruined. And I thought, boy, I have a different perspective from the Bema. You see, down there, I thought I was oh so impressive. I mean, I thought I had the world in the palm of my hands. I thought everything is going my way. But here from the Bema, all I saw was neglect of the people I loved. Living my life for temporal things. Hurting those who had been so good to me. I thought, if I could go back, I mean, if I could do it again, before I did anything, I'd ask myself, what's this going to look like at the Bema? I mean, before I said anything, I'd say, what's this going to sound like at the Bema? Before I made any choice, I'd say, what's this going to look like at the Bema? Because at the Bema, everything looks different. If I could go back, I'm ashamed to tell you that the remaining years of my life were completely worthless as far as eternity is concerned. I mean, it was wood, hay, stubble, just incinerated in front of my eyes. I couldn't do anything. I mean, I was so consumed with work, I didn't do anything of eternal value.